I've shared a lot of tips on how to jump higher and what I did specifically to get my vertical from 26 inches to 41.5 inches. To get even more specific, let me give y'all one of the core workouts that got me to this point. This workout is pretty intense, so beware if you're a beginner athlete. You might hurt yourself if you do this. This is mostly going to benefit athletes who have a strong foundation in strength and coordination. However, doing this as a beginner, you can see some gains still. I would recommend just decreasing the volume by a set or two for each exercise. Of course, go through your warm-ups, do your isos, your dynamic stretching, your mobility stuff, your extensive plyos. Make sure your whole body is warm so that you're able to do this workout efficiently. Going into the first exercise, I got resisted sprints, 3 sets by 10 seconds. And for that whole 10 seconds, you're going as fast as you can. The added resistance forces you to push harder into the ground, which is exactly what happens during the first few steps of a sprint and a penultimate step. This is where a lot of athletes are weak. They're fast, but only when they're already moving, when they're already at top speed. A lot of athletes struggle with accelerating from a standstill. Resistance sprints allows you to increase acceleration in those first few steps. Keep the weights light enough so that you're still able to be fast. This is a really good way to train power in the hips. Next, I got clean pulls, 5 sets by 3 reps. Similar to power cleans because this is an Olympic lift derivative, but the clean pulls allows us to focus mainly on the second pull. One of the main things that athletes struggle with during a power clean is the catch, since it's very technical and requires a good amount of strength and coordination. Not including the catch during a clean pull will allow us to do more weights and overload the second pull of the cleans, allowing us to maximize force during triple extension. Taking the catch out entirely makes things so much easier, so you can just focus on triple extending during the second pull with very little use of your arms. There's pretty much no other exercise that allows us to move this type of weight at this bar speed, so that's why I like these. Next are front squats, 4 sets by 5 reps. Going really heavy on these. As opposed to back squats, with a front squat, you're going to be in a more upright position, allowing for more knee flexion and load on the quads. Your quads are the most important muscles when it comes to jumping, so getting stronger in this specific lift can get your vertical up by a good amount. It's still going to hit the glutes, just not as much as a back squat would, which is why you'll notice that you're not as strong in a front squat than a back squat. In a back squat, you're equally using your glutes and your quads to get the bar up. With your front squats, it's primarily your quads. One of the main reasons I like these a lot is that it doesn't load your lower back as much as a back squat would. By the way, this is the type of programming that Get Up athletes have access to every single day, but with way more individualization, and all of them are seeing increases in the vertical. So if you want to take your vertical seriously to end off this year, fill out the form in the description and I'll reach out to you if you're a good fit. Next exercise, I got hip thrusts, 3 sets by 8 reps. We hit the quads already with the front squats, so now the goal is to target the glutes and the hammies. You can use a barbell or a machine, both are good. The main driver during sprint acceleration and one of the main drivers during a takeoff of a jump, the glutes. Don't neglect these. You want to make sure you're locking out at the top of each rep. A big mistake people make is shortening their range of motion by not fully extending at the hips during the top. So you want to make sure you're locking out at each single rep. These are also great for being able to go heavy without crushing your lower back or adding unnecessary fatigue. Go as heavy as you can for 8 reps. Make sure you have intent. And to finish off the workout, I got single leg seated calf raises, 3 sets by 6 reps each leg. The seated calf raise is to bias the soleus muscle, and I have it single leg so you're able to load each individual leg more. I have these specific calf raises in here because a lot of athletes tend to overdo standing calf raises, which will target the gastroc and a little bit of the soleus. However, the soleus might contribute more to jumping than the gastroc. To tell you the functional differences between these two calf muscles, the gastroc helps with ankle extension in a straight knee position. The soleus helps with ankle extension in a bent knee position. And when we're jumping off 1 foot or 2 foot, guess what? We're in a knee bent position. So the fact that this muscle is so undertrained in most athletes because they only do standing calf raises, that tells me that athletes are missing out on extra inches on the vertical because they're neglecting this muscle. And that's the workout, but some extra cues you should know before doing it. Do this around 1 to 2 times per week. Each single set should end in about 1 to 2 reps in reserve, meaning you only have 1 to 2 reps left in the tank after completing the set. That'll ensure that intent is high and the strength you're lifting is heavy enough to promote strength and power gains. And don't rush to max things out. You want to make sure that you're able to increase the weight and the intensity week to week. So you don't want to gas yourself out in the first week of doing this. And keep in mind, this is a strength/power type workout. Take around 2 to 4 minutes of rest in between each set. It's so that you're recovered enough to produce absolute max output for each rep. This is actually one of the workouts I programmed for someone on Get Up who is in a training cycle designed to increase the rate of force development. So if you want this type of training and programming every single day, but more individualized towards you, apply for Get Up with the link in my description. I only take 5 to 10 athletes per month because the demand is high and it's only me. I want to make sure that I can get to every single athlete on Get Up. But that's the workout. Enjoy. Let me know how it goes. Comment what you want to see next and keep it pushing. All right, later.